It's a strange thing, isn't it? In a year that Harry and Meghan have been ridiculed, quite frankly, on the world stage. I mean, cast your mind back to South Park at the start of this year. That was an absolute debacle, was it not? And of course, it just showed exactly what the general public thought of Harry and Meghan. Whether you like them or not, even they failed to see the joke. They didn't get involved. There were legal threats at that point, whatever they say. But of course, then they had to relent because it would have looked quite bad. South Park, as I said at the time, though, were very clever, because they never actually name them. They just literally dress them up as characters. Now, of course, when you think about it, following on from Family Guy, even people on the world stage are basically now deriding them. And this cannot have gone down well. But what was the true story behind that? Morning, Neil Sean here. Nice to have your company. Yes, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's a strange thing, because we recently had that wonderful documentary all about the King's coronation, and featured quite heavily was none other than the British Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Rishi Sunak. And it showed him really, attending a very special invitation up at Balmoral. This is the sort of yearly event where if you are the Prime Minister, you get the opportunity to spend some quality time, private time, with the monarch, and you can discuss all sorts of stuff. I find it very strange actually, because Rishi was saying he'd never eaten so much, because seemingly it's just one endless banquet after another. Again, perhaps the wrong thing to say on camera. Now, what happened over here over the Christmas period was that Mr. Sunak, some might suggest ill-advisedly, released this sort of spoof Home Alone video from number 10 Downing Street. And it showed the Prime Minister running around, flicking lights, eating chocolates. Remember the movie with Macaulay Culkin? It was sort of spoofed on that a little bit. And then, the pivotal moment right at the end of said video was simply this. He picked up the phone, he said, number 10 press office, and then said, no, wrong number, Harry. Now, what was interesting about that, everybody said, oh, the British Prime Minister is literally ridiculing, the former royal known as the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry. But there's a bigger picture to that, because cast your mind back earlier this year when Prince Harry was in the Royal Courts of Justice defending himself against another press litigation. I can't keep up with him, whichever one they were doing. And if you recall, during that particular sort of grilling, he pointed out that the British government was literally in confidence at rock bottom. This did not go unduly noticed, let me tell you. This literally sent shudders throughout the British government at the time, because it's very rare for a royal to speak out in political terms. Did not go unnoticed, of course, because this was very damaging and detrimental to the current British government in power. And a really strange thing to say, because it was nothing to do really at all with the case in hand, but that's never bothered, as one can imagine, Prince Harry. So while some might suggest, oh, it was a fun piece, a little bit of, light-hearted humour over the festive period, it may have been ill-advised for the Right Honourable Rishi Sunak, particularly in a cost of living crisis. But more importantly, one might suggest that he literally was serving his own revenge, waiting 6 months down the line. And whether that offended His Majesty the King or not, Mr. Sunak clearly didn't care. That's the level of ridicule Harry and Meghan have now reached. Strange world we live in, I'm sure you'd agree. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.